Okay, Mindy, so we've talked about funerals and what they are and what you can do with a funeral. Let's talk a little bit about pre-planning for what the costs and what the process are of having the funeral, cremation, burial, that sort of thing. What are the benefits of pre-planning, first of all?
So the benefits of pre-planning is it essentially takes that burden away from your family at the time of passing. There's a lot of questions that we ask, a lot of decisions that have to be made, and we essentially have 72 hours to accomplish all of the wishes that a family might have. And so we have to make very quick decisions, and they're very big decisions that have to be made. By pre-planning, you take away the burden of having to make all those quick decisions and not really having the time to think those decisions through. It's essentially a gift that you give your family by taking the time to write your wishes down.
Okay. So you said 72 hours. Is it some kind of a rule? Is it written or unwritten?
It's
why
unwritten.
72 hours?
A lot of families like to have something done within 3 days.
Okay.
That's 3 to 5 days is about the time frame that families like to have something accomplished.
Okay.
And you think when you plan a wedding, which is just as big as a funeral, you plan a wedding for 6 months to a year. On a funeral, we plan a funeral 3 to 5 days.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about, how much planning actually has to take place when a person dies. If it's not already done, there's a lot that has to happen. Having gone through that process myself, I know how stressful it can be. There's a lot of emotion within the family. And if one person's in charge of that and they screw things up, a lot of the other family members can really get upset. So it's really important to have something already written out, I think, just so that everybody knows what this person's wishes were when they died. Okay, so run us through the process then really quick. What do we need to be thinking about for planning for a funeral or death?
So pre-planning starts with having a conversation with your family.
Okay.
It doesn't cost you anything to start the first stages of pre-planning for the inevitable, a funeral. Having a conversation, talking with your loved ones, saying this is what I'd like, this is what I think, and then writing your wishes down and letting your family know where those wishes can be found. That is the biggest thing that we deal with when people walk in our door that don't have anything. I don't know what mom or dad wanted. They would never talk to me about it. Having the conversation alleviates that stress right there immediately. And having the written record gives them the information they need to execute those wishes. The next step would be actually setting an appointment with the funeral home, talking to the funeral director, starting a file at the funeral home, picking out exactly the services and merchandise that you want your family to have when you pass away, and funding that arrangement. The benefits of actually funding it beforehand, number one, you can make payments on it. At time of need or when a death occurs, payment is due up front. When you prearrange, you can spread out payments over 3, 5, 10 years, whatever meets your financial needs at the time.
Okay.
It also locks in the price of those services and merchandise, so your family is not held accountable for inflation 10, 20 years down the road, as we know prices are constantly going up.
That's nice.
It is nice, and we're guaranteeing that merchandise and service at the cost that you pay for at the time you prearrange.
So you've picked out your casket, you've picked out how you're going to be buried or cremated, where that's going to be. You're paying for all of these services at today's prices. And when the day actually comes, you're not going to be charged anymore.
You won't be charged anymore for guaranteed merchandise or services.
Okay.
The only thing we can't control is anything that the state has or any family add-ons at the time of. But the essential part of the funeral is guaranteed at what you paid for it.
Okay. So is there anything else that we need to think about as far as the process of pre-planning goes?
Make sure they know you have pre-arrangements and where you have them at, because it's important that when death occurs, your family knows where you're supposed to go.
I can imagine that would actually be a serious problem. I mean, if people don't know, they could easily go to another funeral home.
And then your family incurs costs that are unnecessary.
Paying more, right, absolutely. Okay, great. Thank you, Mindy.
Absolutely.